Hey everyone, this is Jessica with K&A Greenhouse. I'm doing a few PowerPoints here about some underused plants that sometimes get missed in the nursery yard. So this particular presentation is about some underused shrubs that not a lot of people know about or just kind of get glossed over or lost in the shuffle in the nursery yard. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the first one that I see get kind of missed in the nursery yard is the pearl bush called Lotus Moon. This one comes to us from First Edition's brand, and to me, this is a good substitute if you don't like the brattlebary spirea. This one will bloom right around the same time, possibly a week earlier than the bridal wreath will flower, but it will be a spring bloomer. And then I think a lot of the reason why people don't tend to go for this one is once it's done flowering, it doesn't really do anything. It's a green shrub. It'll stay nice and green. It'll make a great, background if you have other things planted in front of it. So you don't want to necessarily have this as an accent plant since it flowers for a couple of weeks and then it's done in spring. But at the same time, it's nice to have layers in your landscape, so this would make a nice backdrop. It prefers full sun, will handle part shade. I am not sure if it is juglone tolerant or not. I haven't personally planted it at my house either, but every year I say I'm gonna buy one, and we get 6 of them in, and then I always forget to buy one by the end of the year. So hopefully this year I will take one of those home, see what happens at my house with all my walnut trees. Um, so I do actually have a coworker that has, I want to say, 2 or 3 of them, and she loves this plant. So, like I said, I will hopefully bring one home too and see what it does. Really looking forward to seeing the flowers again this spring, as it does, as you can see, cover the entire plant. The second underused shrub that we sell in the nursery yard is the sweet shrub. The variety name is Aphrodite. I do actually have this one in my house, so I do know that it is juglone tolerant. The flowers on them are kind of almost a mini magnolia type. It's not quite as big as the magnolia flower is, but it does cover the shrub. I've seen these full grown and they do get quite large. The one at my house is actually planted in more of a dappled shade location than a full sun like it actually prefers. So mine tends to stay closer to 5 feet, but the ones that I saw on campus at local business were actually closer to 6 to 7 feet tall. Um, so when the flowers bloom, it's been said that the flowers either smell like strawberries or pineapples. Some people say bananas. Um, when I've smelled mine, sometimes it smells a little bit sweet like strawberry, but other times I just can't smell anything at all. So it may depend on how mature the flower is. Because if it's like the first day of flowering, maybe it doesn't have a fragrance. I don't know. But this is, to me, a wonderful plant, full sun, part shade, juglone tolerant, like I said. Not necessarily deer and rabbit resistant. They do nibble on it, but they're not going to mow it down like they do for some other shrubs. Um, and this one, I have it in a dry shade spot, so in my opinion, it would definitely be a drought tolerant plant as well. Beautyberry is one that I see a lot of if I go down to visit my relatives down in Florida. Uh, Down there, the shrubs themselves are gigantic. They just kind of cascade and take over a garden. Um, the shrubs here are not going to be quite as big. The top photo that I have here is the Pearl Glam variety from Proven Winners. It has more of that kind of maroon purple leaf. The green leaf variety that is closest to my picture, sorry, this way, right there, is Profusion, which we also sell. That one's a little bit taller, 5, possibly 6 feet here in Wisconsin. Both of them get kind of pale lavender colored flower clusters, and then they mature to these purple colored berries. So I have grown the Profusion variety at my house. It is a zone 5, so of course I planted it a year or two before we got the polar vortex that made us a zone 3 winter. So it did not make it through that winter for me, and I have not been able to keep up with my beds well enough to replant this where that particular shrub was. I will also note that the deer did think that it was a nice little buffet when I planted this one, so I ended up fencing it off pretty quickly after I planted it just to keep them from mowing it completely down. Um, but I am excited for the Perglam just because that one's a shorter 3 foot size. Full sun is best for both of these. The Profusion I did have in part shade and it was fine. Um, the Proglam probably would do best just in full sun if you want to keep that purple maroon leaf color. But if you're okay with it changing to more of an olive green, putting it in part shade would be just fine. But like I said, the berries are fantastic. They held on to the shrub at my house when I had it until about Thanksgiving, maybe a little bit into December, and then they were pretty much gone off the shrub, either from dropping off or from the birds eating the berries off of them. And buttonbush, we do have a couple different varieties of this as well. Fiber optics we have from Bailey Nurseries, their first editions brand. That one is a little bit taller, 5 to 6 feet tall. The Proven Winners has come out with Sugar Shack, which is a smaller version, which is about 3, possibly 4 feet tall. Um, both of those are a variety of a Wisconsin native shrub. So if you can get just the straight button bush without variety name, that would be the Wisconsin native. That one seems to be a little bit taller, like 7 or 8 feet tall, instead of the 3 to 4 with the Sugar Shack or the 5 to 6 with the fiber optics. But both of those varieties will have the white flower that you see on the left-hand side bottom, which flower for a couple of weeks, and then you'll need to resist the urge to deadhead them because after they're done flowering, they turn brown first, which kind of looks tired, makes the shrub look tired, but then it does change to what you can see here in this photo with the bright red kind of berries, seed heads there. So I always caution people just try to ignore the shrub while it has the dried flowers until it gets to that reddish color. I've seen some button bush change to kind of an orange in the fall if it's in more of a full sun. If it's more in a part shade location, it is more native to like the edges of the woods, so part sun is totally fine with this particular shrub. It will have more of a yellow fall color with less sun during the growing season. And this one also is really good for wetter soils. So if you have a spot that's a low lying area, you want to create a hedgerow, something like that, in a lower spot, that would be a perfect choice for you if you don't want to do something like a dogwood. And this is a shrub that does often get missed in the beginning of the season. It is pretty popular right around the time that we're closing up for the season in September, just because that's right around the time you start to see the berries again. So they don't look like a lot of anything. Usually in spring they just kind of leaf out, they do their thing. There is also you do need to have a male and a female variety in order to get the berries. So they will flower. The flowers are not anything really spectacular in your face. They're pretty small, but then come late summer or early fall, you'll start to see the red berries on them. And as you can see, they do also attract birds. So if you're looking to feed some of the birds in your landscape as they're migrating through, or just keep the winter birds that are here year round happy, you can feel free to plant this plant as well. So the rule of thumb that I usually say, if you have one male, it can for sure pollinate one female. Probably will be able to pollinate two. Some people have had luck with it pollinating 3 different females. Others say the berry production really wasn't that good for them with only the one male to pollinate all 3 of them. So the other thing that's kind of weird about this is usually the because there are the male and the female, they're not usually the same size. So you'll have one shrub that's about 6 feet tall, and then the other is going to be about 3 feet tall. So you can't exactly plant them in a hedgerow because you'll have, undulating, or some that will be a lot taller than the others. So just kind of keep an eye on that. Certain winterberry will pollinate, like certain males will only pollinate certain females. The varieties that we have are Jim Dandy for the male, and then we have Red Sprite for the female. And honestly, we've had those as long as I've worked at K&A, for 11 years now. So they've been tried and true on the market. But this one also will grow. It'll grow in moist, kind of dry landscapes, but it actually does do really well in wetter soils too. So it's very adaptable. Full sun to part shade, and again, it gets the berries, which is really nice for winter interest and for the birds. So that is all that I have for you for some underused shrubs that kind of get missed out in the nursery yard. If you have any questions for me about these or other shrubs, you can feel free to email me, knagreenhouse@gmail.com. I am at both stores, but I'm usually at the Verona location more than I'm at the Fitchburg store. You can try to give us a call either one of those stores, and if I'm not there, my coworkers will give me the message, and then I will give you a call back. If you do prefer text message instead, I have a cell phone number that does not do well with phone calls, but it does really well with text messages for some reason. I'm assuming it's a data thing, but the number for a text message is 920-415-4474. And so that's 3 different ways you can get a hold of me if you have any questions, you're looking to see if we have something in stock, anything like that, and we are happy to help you. Thank you so much.